What is up? You are listening to another edition of Blewetts Blitz. I see the chat's already loading up, which was abnormal during the season, but of course it's the off season. Welcome to the off season. So it's going to fill up a little bit more, which is funny that we care more about the streams and football as the season ends because the actual seasons suck ass. So here we are. I quite literally just got done doing I have 123 plays of Ty Simpson recorded. I think 122, 123. I just did 41. It's uploading right now. So if my computer goes a little bit sketchy, it's because it's processing a review. I don't think it should. It's a brand new computer, but check it out after it's done or after it's posted. Should be posted the next few days. I know some people don't love the film stuff, but like to me personally, if you're a diehard Jets fan and you're really arguing about the quarterbacks and these prospects, even if you don't watch it, maybe just listen to it, So for me, I highly recommend, watching it, or even if not mine, you don't trust me, watch somebody else's, but at least be informed about these guys. That's what I urge instead of just saying, hey, this guy sucks, this guy's great. And if I was to follow up with, okay, give me 3 things you like specifically about him or 4 or 5, people can't answer. So not to be like that guy, but take an hour and a half of your time. I think it's about an hour and a half review and just watch, or listen to it. So I just did that. $3 a month, $5 a month for the whole JetX site. But through draft time, through free agency time, specifically when a lot of people don't know these players, $3, do it. That's how I'm starting off this stream. $3, watch the freaking review, so I could stop just arguing with people about he sucks, he doesn't suck, he's not good at this, he's not good at not even he's not good at that, he's not good at this. It's just he sucks, bro. It's like, okay, Georgia game, the first game, I showed him hit a 60-yard pass to one of the receivers and he dropped it. And I'm not even glazing him right now. We have a whole thing to go into with Simpson and obviously Dante Moore. And I'll get into the chat in a little bit. Obviously, you went back to school. To me, I would understand the Jets picking him at 2 if they did. As you guys know, if you're catching my streams consistently or watching me on Asman consistently, Dante Moore was my 3rd quarterback of the 3. So I would love Dante Moore at 2, regardless. People were higher on him because the team won, in my opinion, more. But Simpson's, to me, at least clearly the better prospect than him, just in terms of like processing at the line, making more anticipatory throws, that type of stuff. So, I'm okay with Moore going back to school. And part of my problem in general, and it seems like I'm in between a rock and a hard place. I want a quarterback because I've never really seen a franchise Jets quarterback. I experienced Pennington, obviously, debate or not if you want to say he was a franchise guy. And obviously, if he even was a franchise guy, it was short-lived. The injuries came, all that stuff. But, I was 10, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13. I didn't really appreciate it necessarily. So since I've really been like diehard, I really haven't had a true franchise type guy. So there's one side of me where it's like, hey, let's get a quarterback, whether it be 2, 16, let's just say 2 or 16 for now, because second round, whatever. But then it's also, do I trust these guys to develop him? Like that's part of my problem, and again, and if people think I'm crazy for this, whatever, I don't give a shit. If we had Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, one of these coaches, and of course the Giants get John Harbaugh. Let's say in an alternate universe, John Harbaugh comes to the Jets this season. I would have no problem with them drafting Simpson at 2. That's me. I would have no problem. My problem with the Jets drafting Simpson at 2 is I don't know if I want to waste the number 2 pick on a guy they may not be able to develop. And I don't think he needs as much development as people say he is. But I'm almost like, and again, I'm teetering right now. I'm being a little bit of a fence sitter, and I have months to kind of have my final decision on exactly what I want them to do. I'm almost like, hey, wait until 16 and hope Simpson falls, and these guys have more information than we do about how the draft will pan out. Trade up from 16. Like if you think a team at 13, 12 is going to grab them, if they wanted to trade a second round pick 44 to go up and get their shot on quarterback, I'm okay. But the second overall pick, because of the coaching staff, feels high for any one of these quarterbacks. Like I'm not the biggest Mendoza guy either. I don't love him as much as the general consensus does. So I don't know if I trust the staff. So like I'm in a rock between a rock and a hard place where I want the quarterback. I have somewhat faith in these quarterbacks. I don't love any of them, but do I trust the staff to develop them? So it's a kind of 3-pronged. It was like it's not the best quarterback class in the world, right? That's 1. 2, It's the staff as well. Let's say, I guess it's going two-pronged. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been talking for a while. But it's a problem. If I had confidence in the staff, I would say slam dunk, take Simpson at 2. I don't know if I'm there because of the staff. I don't. I know Tank for Ty's going to be disappointed, but I have time to change my opinion. I'm kind of that now where like, hey, let's draft a stud at 2 and then either trade up and get Simpson or hope he falls at 16. If not, it is what it is. It's kind of where I'm at. As of now, it's January 15th, but I actually was going to record another show after this, but I was like, I think people are kind of juiced up right now in terms of the quarterback discussion, the draft discussion, all that stuff. And with that being said, I have like 18 to 20 player reviews coming that I'm not going to drop anytime soon because who's going to care about a Will McDonald review at this point in the offseason because everybody's excited about free agency in the draft. So just letting you guys know, I have like 18 to 20 players recorded. And then I also just started my draft reviews. So let me just pull up my list of the guys I will have done for you guys because I asked you guys on Twitter, if you guys are on Twitter, who you guys want me to do. I got Simpson 3-part review. I just did one of them. I have Mendoza 3 parts. Tell me that I asked the people on the actual film review to like email me or whatever if they want to see Mendoza. Do you guys want to see Mendoza reviews? Like really, I'm legitimately asking. Like if you don't, I don't know if I'm going to do them because is anybody going to watch a review of a Raiders quarterback? That's my problem. So maybe I wasted a little bit of time minus like Jake's show doing Mendoza review. But if you guys don't want to do it, I'm not watching. Or if you don't want to watch it, I'm not doing it. I have a Mekhi Lemon show that's coming out. I already recorded most of his plays. Typically in the past, I would watch the entire season of a guy and I would go much more like quantity on these guys, where now instead of watching 12 games on a guy because of limited time, I'm watching 5 to 6 games on a guy so I can get a good feel of them. Where I could speak about them enough. Like I don't want to watch 12 games on, Lemon, Styles, Bain, and Reese, and then not do the rest of the guys. So I'm shortening it up a little bit and then expanding the pool of players I'm doing this year. So I'm watching 5 to 6 games of each of these guys, right? So I'm going to have reviews on Mekhi Lemon, Sony Styles, Bain, Reese, Tate, Bailey, Downs, Tyson, Woods, the DN Folk, if that's how you pronounce it, Concepcion, if that's how you say his name, the D tackle McDonald. I'm doing Denzel Boston. I'm doing CJ Allen. So that's like, I don't know, whatever, 12, 13, 14 reviews. You'll get draft time. You get all the Jets players. You get all the free agents. You'll get whoever they do draft. So if there's anybody like outstanding you guys want to see who's not included in that list, let me know. And then let me know about the Mendoza thing, please, because I don't want to waste my time if it's going to get 100 views. I'm just being realistic here. So the real 2 cruising. The Jets' plan needs to be trading back and accumulating draft picks for the next coach. Well, can we start there? Is their plan going to be, hey, Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji, they sit down for their draft meetings like, hey, listen, we have to build assets for the next coach. It's like that's the first part of the statement. There's a problem there. If they could trade back, awesome. Like if they could trade back 3, 4, 5 spots, I would be so down. But who's trading up for what? Hopefully the Cardinals start by trading up to number 2 pick to draft Simpson, then wait for offers for the 3 pick. I think this is a little bit PFN mock drafty where you get a trade back for every scenario. I don't think a team is trading up for Simpson, and I don't think anybody in this draft is really worth truly trading up for at the top. I'll give you my kind of synopsis of the top guys because, again, with that list, I've watched 5 games of Lemon. I watched 5 games of Styles. I watched 3 games of Ruben Bain, 3 games of Reese, 3 games of Tate, and 4 of Bailey, I believe. So I have a decent feel for these guys and what I would do. But I don't know if anybody's ready to go. So yeah, like, hey, let's do it. But they're obviously not going to say let's trade back to accumulate draft picks for the next coach. That'll obviously be the dumbest thing in the world for them, right? Like, you got to realize that that's a little bit silly. Pat, what up? What's up, Jay? Give me your number 2 overall pick. No quarterback. Give me who you think the Jets are going to pick number 2 overall. Thank you. So me, and I was always transparent in saying I did not watch these guys. Okay. When I was giving my opinions, and I always say that. I always prep it by saying, wait until I watch them and I will give you my opinions. I think it's Reese. I think it's Reese at 2. I watched Bain, 3 games. I still have, 2 or 3 more games to go of him as well as Reese. Reese is freaky. 243, 6'4", 6'3", whatever he is. I think his frame allows him to add another 10 pounds of muscle. I think he's a guy who, even without those 5 to 10 more pounds, I think he holds his athleticism. And for his size, 243, he is stupidly strong for how like small he is. So I think you add 5 to 10 pounds to Reese. I would say 10 pounds, 253 ish, and you make him a full-time edge, a guy who can be in some different looks. Like maybe at times he's a spy, at times he can match up with a running back or drop into his zone. Fine, like maybe that's 5% of the time. But to me, he's the most freaky player where I watch him, and there's a lot of like, and I legitimately, like, I don't track this, but I notice when I do it, and this is just like a me thing. If guys make like crazy plays, I will audibly like gasp or be like, oh shit. Like I'll say that when I'm watching film. I saw much more of the oh shit, wow type of plays from Reese in 3 games than I did of Bane in 3 games. I think Bane's a good player, but I don't see the ceiling of Reese with Bane. I think Bane could be, an 8 to 12 sack guy, a guy who's a really good run defender. I love if they do draft Bane, it's not like I dislike Bane, so don't get me wrong. I would love the package of, Bane on rundowns on the outside, and then just like the JFM situation on rush downs on 3rd and long, you flex him inside to a 3-tech. You have JJ and McDonald outside with Bane and Briggs in the middle. Like, hey, we're talking about a legitimate pass rush there, assuming that JJ bounces back. The thing with Reese is, the only thing I don't love about him is the fact that I don't know how well he fits with McDonald. I don't know how you're going to get Reese and Bane and McDonald on the field at the same time necessarily, unless it is more of those rush packages. There is a way to do it, but for me, if I drafted Reese, I would probably trade Will McDonald. Get a 2nd or 3rd round pick, whatever you can for McDonald. And maybe not. Maybe there's a way that they can fit both him and McDonald on the field and things like that. But McDonald's going to be off the field quite a bit if you draft Reese, because I'm playing Reese over McDonald on rundowns because he's better in the run game. He's freakishly strong for his size. So McDonald is going to be like a 3rd down package guy. Maybe then you flex Reese to the other edge spot and JJ rushes more interior at times, or there's a way to like overload. Like there's ways to do it, but I think you have to work a little bit more for Reese on the field with McDonald. So maybe you end up trading him for, a day 2 pick, and then you address, receiver, safety, linebacker, whatever there. But when I watched Reese, there was many more like, oh damn type of plays. Same thing for Tate. For me, and again, I have to watch more games. I have to do more, not even more research. I have to watch more games of these guys. For me, like gun to my head right now, because I can't guarantee, if I can guarantee Lemon at 16, then I would say, okay, draft Bane at 2. If gun to my head right now, just individual prospects, Tate versus Bane, I think I'm taking Tate over Bane right now. Tate has, I don't think it's the best long speed in the world, but my God, is that guy smooth, and his catch radius and his hands are just so sticky. I really, really like Tate. I really like Lemon as well. I don't think he falls to 16 based on what I'm watching. I get he's small. I get his catch radius is not the biggest. He doesn't have the best deep speed in the world, but and I'm not comparing him directly to him, but does JSN have the best deep speed? Is he the biggest guy in the world? No. Like a lot of this game is like intermediate, working into space, finding holes in the zones, and that's what Lemon does. Really competitive, tough as hell over the middle. 5'11", but makes a lot of contested catches for that size. Is a willing blocker, is a smart blocker. I think Lemon fits great next to Garrett Wilson. Z slot, wherever you're going to put him. The only problem is he can't really play X, in my opinion, because of the size, the lack of speed. Not saying he can't win deep ever, but I wouldn't put him as X. I think Tate can play X. If Tate were to be on this team, I'd rather him play Z or slot and still have AD Mitchell at X. And again, just X does not mean you're number 1 necessarily. It's just about skill set. So, but nonetheless, yeah, I'm a Reese guy as of right now. I have time to change my opinion and watch more games of these guys, but Bane, I just think the ceiling's a little bit capped, where again, I watched Reese, I'm like, he is a freak. He's a freak. He really, really is at times, where he'll just like stand up a puller who is almost 100 more pounds than him, like easily. I'm like, God damn, dude. Like he is really impressive at times. So I get the twinger thing. I do. But at the number 2 overall pick, like you want that ceiling. You really do. I don't know if Bane has that. I don't think Bane has that. I don't. I think the motor at times was a little bit cold for Bane. There's some effort plays, like it's not Muhammad Wilkerson level effort, but there's some plays in pursuit where I'm like, all right, where Reese is bat out of hell. Actually, and you're talking about bats out of hell. Bailey, that dude's a psychopath. That dude is an absolute psychopath. Legitimately, when you're watching Bailey, and I'm not even just saying this, it seems like you're playing him at 1.5 speed. It's just how fast he plays all the time. Bailey is absurd. But now with Bailey, just going in that conversation, he's a little bit smaller. He's a guy who's not going to be great in the run game, in my opinion. He's a little bit thin-legged. So I don't think he's the best fit on this team either with Will McDonald. And assuming they run more of like a 4-3, I guess they could switch to a 3-4, but I don't think so. So let's just assume it's more of a 4-3. I don't think Bailey is worth it at 2 where you're going to get rid of McDonald. I think Bailey in my overall big board may be a notch above Bane. But because of Will McDonald and the fit on the defense, I may draft Bane over Bailey. But Bailey, he's a psycho. I love players like Bailey. He's very fun. But yeah, sorry, I just got into a lot of stuff just because this is fresh in my mind. I've been watching a lot of draft prospects this week. I have a lot more to do, obviously, as you heard the list, and I'll see if you guys recommend any other people. But I'm already cooking up like 25 to 30 reviews, and we haven't signed anybody or draft anybody yet. So most of them are going to be like 20 to 30 plays, a little bit shorter than the 40 to 50 in the past. But listen, I think you guys can absorb who these guys are in 20 to 30 plays, right? For the most part, if you do watch, which. Again, I understand it. People don't love the film stuff, but in the background, you're cleaning whatever it is, throw an AirPod in, just get a good feel for these players. That's what I recommend. I don't understand people who don't do it, but you guys are not me and I am not you, right? So if you want to be, as people say, ignorant, then you be ignorant. I'm assuming you're not watching other people and stuff, which I'm sure some of you are. Joe, get ready to learn Ruben Bane. Right now, I'll be honest, I would be pretty lukewarm on it. He feels more of like a 7 to 12 guy than like a true number 2, number 1 overall pick a type of guy, where I could see Reese, if he were to add weight and play full time on the edge at Ohio State, he would be a slam dunk number 1 overall pick. That's how I feel. His ceiling is just stupid. It's crazy. Think Bane fits what Glenn wants to do. I get that, RJ. I do 100%. I know you're not responding to me. You're just talking to whoever else, but Reese has that ceiling where he could be one of the best DNs in the league, where I don't know if Bane ever will be. Not saying that he's unathletic or anything like that, but Reese has that freakishness to him. Where Bane is a good athlete for the size, all that stuff, really good strength and stuff, but I just don't see the same ceiling. Let's see. RJ Glenn isn't going to be here past next season. I'd be fine moving some of this year's picks to 27. Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, the Jets and Aaron Glenn and Muji and everything, I'm not going to think like that. Jan, what's up, dude? We are a franchise that hasn't had a great franchise quarterback in 50 years. Ty is a great prospect, great young man who would be a fantastic quarterback to lead our team for a decade. If he fails, you pick a quarterback again in 27. I'm with you there in terms of like you could always pass, pick a different quarterback the next year. I don't necessarily agree with the sentiment that if you draft a guy into it sets your franchise back forever. Look what the Cardinals did, obviously with Rosen, and immediately moving on to the next year, grabbing Murray, who's, number 1 overall pick, a mid-ish quarterback. But obviously they're hoping for more. You're not going to sign up for a mid-ish quarterback at number 1. But it's possible. Like the new staff's not going to come and be like, oh, well, shit, they drafted him last year at 2 or 16. We can't move off of them. So I disagree with that. My problem with that is I like Ty Simpson. Trust me, obviously, thank for Ty. You know that. Everybody in the chat knows I like Ty Simpson more than the general consensus. It's just I don't trust the staff, dude. I don't trust these guys to develop anybody. So like while again, if I was the John, again, Harbaugh, or if we had Stefanski this year, or if we have Kevin O'Connell or any one of these guys, I'm like, yeah, dude, do it. Take him at 2. Like if you can take him at 16, take him at 2. But I'm almost like hedging my bets and saying, yeah, 16 or trade up a little bit for him. For the people who think he's going to at 33, I legitimately do think you're on crack. Again, go and watch those 41 plays. He's not going in the second round. So I'm almost like hedging my bets and saying, yeah, let's hope he falls into the teens or 10, 11, 12, and you can trade up a second round pick to get him. I'm more there than at 2 because of the staff. It's not because of Ty, and it partially is because Ty, I don't think Ty is not a slam dunk either, but it's more because of the staff than Ty. Yeah, 0 shot. It happened a few years ago. Okay, let's see. Jordan Tyson, so I could buy a jersey. That's so I'm gonna watch him. I think my next two watches, Tyson, are my next two watches, Tyson and Downs are my next two after I finish Bane, Reese, Tate, and Bailey. So Downs and Tyson are coming up next, and everything I hear about Tyson is that he's on par with Lemon and with Tate, but you know what I'm going to say, right? It's the injuries. Apparently, he's been injured quite a bit, so I am concerned about injuries. Right? What are the injuries? Is it a knee? Is it a hammy, or did he dislocate his shoulder? Obviously, there's different level of injuries. I'm not privy to that information because I've done nothing on him yet, but I will start to do things on him. So, what are the injuries? I don't know. But he's obviously intriguing. So. Okay, tie at 15, no, 16. I'm okay with Ty Simpson at 16 for sure. I am. Assassin, what's up, dude? Long time no see. It's Assassin. Yeah, I got you. I recognize the Cartman, right? I don't think you changed that ever, unless you did late or you changed it early. But you've had that logo forever, so or the picture forever. So I know that. What's up, dude? See, I haven't seen Assassin. The offseason comes, bang, people are coming back. Chat's filling up before I'm in here. It's a completely different feel. The offseason is so much more fun for us because the season sucks. What's up, beloved peace? Dude, David, it's hilarious. So I'm midway through my Simpson review and I get the notification that Kyle Tucker signed with the Dodgers. And I had a 1-minute vent session about just how pissed off I am that they sign everybody, every Korean, Japanese pitcher they sign. And the Mets were, supposed to be in on Tucker, and they're just doing nothing. They're just doing absolutely nothing this year. So they're going to suck. Okay, fine, whatever. You have a guy who's one of the richest owners in baseball, and we're just going for it all, signing Soto, signing all these guys, Pete Alonso back, to let's have Soto around absolutely nothing. It's going to be fun. I can't wait for the Mets to have 75, 80 wins. My connection is Dunzo. Is my connection bad right now? Is it? If it is, it's because my computer is converting that meeting still. I'm at 92%. So if my connection is sketchy, then that's my fault. No, not my fault. It's me doing that. It's me doing that. Ravens should go total rebuild and sell everyone for peanuts. We'd be kind to take Lamar off there. So again, I don't Lamar is great, man, but injuries, do we have the right offense around him? Is a new coach? I'm not as hot on Lamar Jackson as some other people are. I don't think it's going to happen regardless, so I don't really have to address it. But, he does not look the same last year because of all the injuries. And then you have to have a very specific type of offensive coordinator for him. And that's not Angstrand. Now if a new coach was coming in and they can pair him with Lamar, then fine. But bringing Lamar to this situation, I don't know, man. Assassin and Blewett back at it. I guess you're back officially. I forget your opinions. I know you're a good dude, Assassin, but I forget if you're an idiot or not. Transparently, I don't know. I don't think you are. I think you're fine. I think you tended to be a little bit outlandish at times, but I forget, honestly. I might be in the minority here, but I'm in favor of Simpson at 2 and Lemon at 16. I wouldn't be I'm okay. Again, sound crazy. I'm okay with Simpson at 2, just not under the staff. That's the problem for me. I have that sinking feeling where they're going to ruin the kid, and that it sucks to feel that way. But it's how I do. It's just legitimately how I feel. No matter who they draft, I don't care if it's maybe not Andrew Luck, but any of the quarterbacks. If it was Stroud or Young or whoever, Drake May, Drake May was not great his first year, went in second year with Vrabel and lit it up. A lot of it's about coaching. So I don't think Simpson is a good enough prospect to thwart a horrific organization. I don't think he's a savior necessarily. I think he could be a good quarterback, but with the right situation around him, specifically coaching, and we don't have that. So it really concerns me. Jets fandom, BPA, D end at 2, wide receiver quarterback at 16, wide receiver quarterback at 33. Was so happy Moore didn't declare. We are more than a quarterback away, and it gives him, I understand both aspects of it. The new flavor this week on Twitter is, we're happy that he went back, which I understand because the Jets are incompetent. They may take him and then ruin him because he needs to sit a little bit. And the Jets undoubtedly are most, again, based on my opinion of Aaron Glenn, don't want to be too negative, but they're going to lose, and then they're going to try to save their job, and they're going to rush more in, and it's going to thwart his development. So I understand that, but if they are a smart organization, then obviously you want more to come out for you to either draft him or to get assets for a team who wants to take more. I could tell you, even if the Jets had an all-star coaching staff, I wouldn't love Moore at 2 because I think he's the third best quarterback in this draft class. Like pretty cleanly too. Like I'm not like I think they all are relatively close, or they were. But I definitely have Simpson above him. I got to label my Simpson review. Simpson review part 1, and I got to upload that to our Google Drive. I'll do that in a little bit. Okay. I absolutely love Simpson. The Jets take him at 2. It's still too early to determine if they take him. If they absolutely love Simpson, the Jets will take him at 2. Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, if they absolutely love him, they're not going to wait. So we'll see. I just did 41 plays on him. So go and watch it. It should be out next few days, I'm thinking. I prefer the Jets to take a shot at trading back and taking Nussmeier in the 3rd round. I can't speak to Nussmeier. I have no idea. I don't know. I know that last year he was supposed to be a top 10 pick, a 1st round pick, and now he's talked about more of like the 2nd to 4th round type quarterback. So that's what happens. But yeah, listen, I'm almost like draft a quarterback at 16 or 33 and then bring in a vet like Kirk Cousins, or I'm on completely opposite end of the spectrum and like draft a guy in the 4th round and then bring in like Malik Willis. And the only reason I'm saying Malik Willis is, listen, I don't love the fact he has not a lot of starts, 6 touchdowns, 600 yards, like somewhere like 100, between like 100 and 200 passing attempts, whatever the hell it is. But at least with Willis, it'll either work out and he'll be great with the Jets, or they'll completely crash and burn. Willis will be out in a year and we'll get the top 5 pick again. So like, I'm almost okay with Willis if we don't draft the quarterback in the top 33, top 44, or whatever it is, or even if they do, because he'll either crash and burn or he'll succeed. Whereas a guy like Kyler Murray will kind of, like, in my opinion, get you into like a purgatory territory where it's like, yeah, he's not good enough to necessarily win in the playoffs, but he's not a guy who's going to only win you 3 or 4 games, and he'll win you, 7, 8, 9 every year, but you won't be good enough to make the playoffs or make a run in the playoffs, maybe wild card, but you won't be bad enough to get a top quarterback. So like, I'm almost, because of the volatility of Willis, like if they don't get a guy at, 2 or 16, bring him in. Like that, I know it's a stupid way to think, but that's kind of like where I stand right now, where it's like either draft a guy early or just take a highly volatile player. Now, obviously, with that being said, does he sign here? Probably not. What's the contract? If it's too high, then obviously not. Like, I'm not just going to burn money, but like, I don't think there's a middle ground with Willis. I think he's either going to suck or it's going to go, very well with him because of the potential, but we'll see. We ought to wait to see how Simpson does at the combine. I don't know how much it changes with him at the combine, really. I do think that people hang on to the Zach Wilson thing too much. Like, oh, Zach Wilson was the only reason he was drafted at number 2 was because of the combine throw. That is horseshit. It is, because he was already being talked about it too way before the combine. It was not the combine throw that there's no throw you can make in the combine that brings you from a mid first, late first, early second to number 2. That is an absolute horseshit narrative, and there's absolutely zero truth to it. So please do not say that, because it's not what happens. And just go back to the tweets, to all the stuff before the combine. He was already thought of either with Fields or slightly above Fields. And then more work, he was obviously the number 2 to, I think, every single GM in the NFL. I think it was 32 out of 32 they interviewed, and they said they would have drafted him before Fields. So it was not a combine throw. Please save the bullshit with that. It's just unequivocally not true. And I will not move on that. There's no wiggle room to that. It helped maybe, but not as much as people think. Let's be real. Some people think. Jan, what's up, dude? Appreciate the super chat. Maybe it's my limit of knowledge, but what exactly do we want from this coaching staff to see that they won't ruin a quarterback? Between now and the draft, there's nothing they can do. Now, we could have more faith in them if they were to maybe bring in an offensive assistant to Engstrand and help him develop a little bit, because they didn't really do much of that. Or bring in a new OC. Like, I'm not attached to Engstrand. I think it's a hard evaluation. I'm somewhere around like a C+ for him, but kind of incomplete because of what the quarterback situation was. But Charles London getting rid of him is a start, right? Like there's nothing I'm going to say. There's nothing they're going to do I'm going to say, yeah, no doubt about it. They're going to develop this guy, but they can start taking steps in the right direction and bring in some guys on offense, specifically at quarterback coach. I don't look at Charles London and say, yeah, this guy's going to develop Ty Simpson into the franchise quarterback. So staff moves, bring in another receiver. But obviously that's going to be potentially during the draft. So they can't do it, before the draft. They could bring in a receiver though, right? They could bring in Pierce. They could bring in Dobbs. They can bring in whoever else, but I think it starts with the quarterback coach. That helps the situation, but I'm not going to say, yeah, they bring in Jordan Palmer or whoever at quarterback coach. Yeah, now I'm confident in the staff. I don't, because part of the problem with the staff is the defense was the worst in the NFL, if not second worst, third worst, whatever you want to say it. Not only offensively, think about the pressure on the kid to put up fucking 50 points a game to win. Seriously. The Jets defense last year was historically bad at times. So is this rookie, even with a good offense around him, hey, I got to score a touchdown every other drive to keep this team in the game. Like that's part of the problem too. So coaching hires, that's where they could start to me or for me. So yeah. If we had Harbaugh, Moore would not be back in college. I think the Jets maybe like factored in a tiny bit, but I don't think he was just doing to avoid the Jets. I think he kind of admitted that he needs more seasoning, right? Now, do I love the fact that he had to do the LeBron James announcement on ESPN? No. And the cynical part of me and the side of me that's a piece of shit, which I guess there is some. I'm almost rooting for Moore to not be overly successful. So then his decision makes him look like an idiot, because I think financially you should come out. Again, just being completely honest. That's the part of me where I'm like, oh, well, I hope you suck now because it's a stupid move. Especially if he did just do it to avoid the Jets. Now, realistically, being more of less of a fan and more of an analyst, you want him to succeed because you want more options, right? That's really how you should feel. But part of me is like, I hope you kind of suck now, dude. Like ESPN, all this stuff. Lenser's Paven, all the positives and negatives people have been talking about with Simpson. My biggest concern is honestly size. Yeah. So really, and I think that's a good comment. I do. My biggest problem with him is size, and the lack of starts. Those are the things that worry me the most about Simpson. It's not like people, I don't know what people think about him. Gimmicky, can't read a defense, whatever, but like he reads the defense well. He makes plenty of anticipatory throws, good feel in the pocket, good arm strength. Accuracy can waver at times, but not terrible. I wouldn't say it's great either. But yeah, I'm 100% with you, Lensers. It's the size and it's the lack of starts. You didn't say lack of starts, but I get the size. Mine's lack of starts, then size probably is 1 and 2. But it's all right, Joe. I rock with you heavy because I appreciate that, dude. It's not about Sims. And again, I don't think Simpson's some slam dunk Joe Burrow necessarily. Not even necessarily. I don't think he is. It's the staff, man. It's the staff. Who is the ideal hire? Stan. I don't know yet, right? Because like I haven't watched these guys. I'm always super transparent about like, yeah, I could love Jim Leonard and then go and watch the defenses. Like, I think he's a little bit overrated, or we hear something that, we hear stuff that, yeah, he assisted with the defense, but didn't necessarily call it. So it's like, it's hard to know exactly who's the perfect hire. Out there, people talking about Wink. I think Wink's a little bit more of like a safe option, but doesn't necessarily have the ceiling of like a Jim Leonard. Some people are talking about the dude from the Bears, Al Harris. So I'll be excited with more of like the young upcoming guys than like the Winks, the guys who I think are a little bit capped. But in terms of like who's ideal, I like right now, gun to my head, like an Al Harris or a Jim Leonard. I would say, do they match Glenn's philosophies? I think that's important. I don't think you want to bring in another staff where, Wilkes and Aaron Glenn kind of have different philosophies on exactly how they execute their defense. I think you want them more aligned. Is that Harris? Is that Leonard? I haven't done enough research to say exactly who would be the most ideal hire, but I'm kind of leaning towards like one of those guys. I'm sure there's some other guys out there who you guys will bring up who I may say, oh yeah, add that guy to the list. I personally want like a a younger up and comer. I think Morris is safe. I think Wink is a little bit more safe, but I think he's a little bit brash. So I don't love the relationship with Wink and Aaron Glenn. It might be a little bit like an explosive relationship. I would be more okay with Morris than Wink, but I'm leaning more towards like the Harrises and the Leonards of the world, which is like the general consensus, right, of people. So I'm not really reaching there. I think I'm kind of sticking with the general consensus because I don't really have knowledge of other stuff. And I think that's what people tend to do, which I hate. But I'm kind of there right now because admittedly, I haven't really looked into these guys, right? Whoever the quarterback is, the Jets taking the draft, he'll have to sit unless it's Mendoza. I even think Mendoza should sit, at least a little bit. Like Mendoza versus pressure, man, is not ideal right now. So if you put him on the Raiders offensive line with pressure, Mendoza, like I'm not locked in to say Mendoza is going to be even average. Like I think better chance than not that he's at least decent. He's not great versus pressure, and his offense was very RPO heavy, first read, 3-step drop, get rid of the ball. If they don't execute that type of offense, shotgun, RPO heavy, and he's having to take snaps under center, and he's having to go 5-7-step drops, get to the second and the third read, and face some pressure with a ball sack offensive line, he might struggle too. So I would sit Mendoza. I'd even sit Mendoza. I don't think he's some guy who I think he's a much better chance to work out with the Jets than the Raiders. Now you have Brady there or whatever else, but I'm talking about just like the team. Who's the Raiders' number one receiver right now? I think that might be embarrassing because I should know. It's not Jacoby Myers anymore. Who the hell is their receiver one? I don't even know off the top of my head. Their offensive line is balls. Okay. So like, Mendoza might struggle. He might. The Raiders may ruin him. Moore went from the number 2 overall pick to next year. He will be 5th best quarterback, and the Jets will pick him at 10. Yeah, man. I think the Jets right now, like gun to my head, they have 2 top 10 draft picks next year. Right? Close to it. I think the Jets themselves will be top 10, and I think the Colts will at least be top half, if not top 10. So, yeah, maybe we trade up, depending on the teams at the top. You're hoping that hopefully all the quarterbacks who are so good this year come out. They continue to be successful, and there's a ton of options, and you're hoping the teams at the top are willing to trade down, or the Jets just suck enough where they can get their number 1, number 2 guy. Let's see. I want to see how ass Mendoza is. So yes, no Mendoza, no. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of teetering. Like, do I want to waste, 100 plays? It's probably going to take me a good, 4 or 5 hours of recording. Do I want to do it for 15 views? No, not 15. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know, man. It's sad. AG's a waste another year. Yeah, I'm with you. And my Jets, that's how I feel. Now, obviously, the Jets fan part of me wants them to succeed, but I just don't see how. Can't wait for that Makai Lemon review. Yeah, it's I like Lemon, man. I like how aggressive he is. Some of the contested catches he makes, you just don't expect him to do it. You're like, God damn, dude, for 5'11", you're making that catch. Super tough. Good yak, runs hard. Very willing blocker, understands angles, solid route runner. I think Tate is more smooth than him as a route runner and smarter than him as a route runner. They both struggle versus press a little bit. Lemon because of the lack of size, and Tate kind of the same thing. He's 6'3", 195, so he's a little bit slender. So you want him to add a little bit of muscle to get off of press, like hold his line, push off, those type of things. But there's some plays where you're just watching like, damn, he is just so smooth. But I can see both being studs. Like it's just the way of today's NFL. Like I'm not comparing them, but like Lemon could be a JSN. Like JSN's nothing. Like again, very good player, but in terms of like athletically, was he anything to write home about in the draft? Like, like, oh my God, he's so athletic, or was more like, oh, he's smart, he's in the right spot, So like, you never know with these guys, but I think Lemon could be very, very legit, very legit. Garrett Wilson has a higher ceiling than him, in my opinion, just because of the overall athleticism. But Lemon could be really good, man. So can Tate. I like him too. I probably like Tyson based on it, but my concern is the injuries. Like if they're all in the same tier, one has injuries, he's gonna be my 3, right? So I don't think the Jets are gonna be lucky enough for Lemon to fall to 16 based on my watching right now. Light Grenade, I'd rather watch a Reese review or something. I feel like he's a favorite at 2 now. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. Light Grenade is like, I'm going to do all the other reviews, see where I'm at with time before the draft. And then if I have extra time, maybe put out a Mendoza review. But even then, like for me personally, just not even peek behind the curtain, but it's like, do I want to do a Mendoza review for not a lot of views, or do I want to, record stash up my recordings of like, like I'm not going to release any Jets reviews and probably until the summer, but like I could record a few in February and just have them stashed. I don't have to do a bunch of work in the summer. So I'm almost like, does it even worth it, or just record those reviews, which I have plenty of those too. Brownlee, AZ Thomas, Stevens, Fashanu, Memboots, Hitman, Simpson, Mason Taylor, Garrett Wilson, Isaiah Davis, Ruckert, JJ, McDonald, Arian Smith, Maui Noah, Moore, Mitchell, Mechie, Briggs, Phillips. So you have plenty coming. It's just like, do I want to prep some of those? Bishop, it's up, dude. I'm seeing some new people in here, so it's definitely off-season time. It's up to Simpson. It's up to Simpson to wow the Jets during interviews so they don't pass on him. He'll be gone by the time the Browns pick. You think he's going to the Cardinals, or you think he's going to like Cardinals or Browns? I can see it, no doubt. I can see it. I think he's generally overlooked by people because people attach wins to quarterbacks. I think that's kind of what it is. Like, I watched him, they weren't good, he sucks. Or I watched him on broadcast, he didn't throw the ball for a completion, he sucks. When in reality, maybe nobody was open. Maybe there's pressure immediately through the A gap. But like, people don't see that. It's very results based. Did he win? Did he complete the ball? Did he drive the ball down the field? People don't consider the coaching, the running game, the systems, the situation. There's so much more context than just, oh yes, completion, win, thumbs up. Like, I think that's not, I'm hopefully not my subscribers think, but I think that's how 90% of people think. I really do. So I've argued, and again, I'm going to have whoever his name is in here, what's his name, saying if, whatever. But like, if you just switched all the quarterback situations, I think we're talking about Simpson probably at 1. I think if you put Simpson on Indiana and Mendoza on Alabama, I think Simpson goes 1. I do, truly. I'm not just saying that. What about Bailey review? I have that. I think he has more potential. I think his potential in the run game. I'm just a little bit worried that he's a little more like boxy with really skinny legs. So I don't see him being awesome in the run game, even though like he has the want to. So I don't love the fit with Will McDonald. I do like Bailey though as a pass rusher. He is super, super aggressive and has really good explosion, really good like strength, like pass rushing type of strength. So game records and game changers. Yeah, I just think in terms of ceilings that Reese is, man. What if Thomas Brady looks at Mendoza career tape and thinks he was good at this year because of Cignetti and the team around him passed? Do we run up the pick? I think the Jets probably do. Again, I don't like. And I think the general consensus would be streaking. If you got Mendoza at 2, I like, okay, yeah, sure, but I don't think he's a slam dunk prospect. I really don't. And again, and I made this comparison plenty of times, and I don't mean to overdo it, but the similar stuff with 3-step read, get rid of the ball quickly, smart, was the Josh Rosen stuff. So to say he can't miss, I think is silly. To say he can't miss, I think is silly. The Jets are in a flood. Yeah, no doubt. Jets fandom. They are. They don't have a coach that can develop all these guys. That's my concern. So I want to take I don't know. Lane Kerner, how do you feel about the Jets? Not good, Lane. I do not feel good about the Jets. I am in a dark place. I love the fact that they have assets to build a team. I don't have faith in the leadership. Who's my favorite non-quarterback in this draft? Now, I'm so behind. Maybe know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull up the chat in my phone too. So if I'm asking you a specific question this very moment, I can see what you're saying, but not skip forward. So I'll ask you now. Do you mean not like favorite in terms of like my guy, or do you mean like who's the best? Because I kind of think of that, and there's 2 different ways to think about that. Like my guy versus the best. I think it's Reese. Like I'm a Reese guy too currently. In terms of like, damn, I really do like a lot of these guys though, in terms of like they're just, I like how smooth Tate is. I like how much of a psychopath Bailey is, and I like how tough Lemon is. Like I like some guys for sure in this draft, but like minus Reese, I just don't see any of them as like a slam dunk top 3 pick in other drafts. I think if Reese played full-time the end, it's a different story. He's like slam dunk number 1 or number 2. Like he has, I don't think he's Myles Garrett level, but I think he's creeping up there. No, maybe not creeping up there because people are going to associate automatically Myles Garrett, 24 sacks, whatever. I don't want to say that. I'm talking about level of prospects. Like if he played full-time DN, I think he's like a slam dunk. I like Sony Styles at 16 and the Clemson D tackle Woods. I'm about to do Woods too. There's like 3 really good players that will be there at 16. Yeah, you gotta see. I still have plenty of reviews to do at this point, but I would be okay with Styles. I would take Lemon over Styles right now. I would take Bailey over Styles. I would take Bain over Styles. I like Styles. He's just a little bit new to the position. And my thing with Styles on this defense, and again, like I don't want to pass on Styles because you have Sherwood, but they're both lighter. I know he's like a bigger dude and he has good strength for his size, but he's still, what is he, 6'4", 240, what do I have him listed at? What did online say for him? 6'4", 240. So he's not the biggest. He's not small, but he's not the biggest guy in the world either. Like I would like to see him add some weight. And again, I think this was his first year playing linebacker, right? So there's some development needed there. And do I trust the Jets defensive staff to develop a guy? Aaron Curry, is that his name? Right? Like the rookie linebacker coach. Great. Again, just because you played doesn't mean you can develop or coach, right? That's one. And can we also cover the fact that just because you played like offensive line doesn't mean you can evaluate a linebacker or receiver? Just because you played receiver doesn't mean you're an expert on offensive line. Can we stop blowing smoke up players' asses for their evaluations? Now, if it's a defensive lineman, talking about the defensive line, I'm with you. But does the defensive lineman know how Garrett Wilson should run routes? I don't know. I don't think so at times. I've seen it on Twitter. I'm like, oh my God, that's your opinion. I'm not saying, I'm obviously not the end all be all. No doubt. There's people smarter out there, but definitely. But some of the shit I see people saying is outlandish. What was it? Is Ledger Doozable and Woody talking about Carter Warren having a ton of potential and me being too low on him because I put out a bunch of bad plays of Carter Warren? Where's Carter? Is he even on a roster now? I got a bunch of people dunking on me during that Twitter exchange where I was arguing with, I don't know if it was Woody and Doozable or just Doozable, but they're like, oh yeah, a lot of potential. I'm like, dude, what potential did you see? He sucked. And I proceeded to post 30 plays of him sucking. So either one, I think a lot of these players just think people value their opinions above all else because they're players. So they don't do a lot of research, or just because your defensive lineman doesn't necessarily know you mean, receiver, linebackers, whatever it is. I think a lot of people are lazy and they just rest on their laurels a little bit. I'm not saying that is doable or whatever, but I think people just tend to say stuff without either doing research or knowing. And to say Carter Warren has a lot of potential, I did not see that. And I got roasted. What are you saying? This is an NFL player. You don't know shit. And then, what happened to Carter Warren? Tate is exactly what we're looking for in a possession receiver opposite of Garrett. Yeah, I think Tate is, and even Lemon, like to a certain extent, like he's a more of a possession guy. He's smaller. I think the ceiling is maybe a little bit less high, even though what I think ceilings may be a little bit overrated in today's NFL. It's about how you're used and stuff. I think either guy fits, but yeah, I Tate next to him. You could play him as like a he's a bigger slot, but he could play slot because he's just so smart and savvy and sitting down in zones. Such a big catch radius. He adjusts the ball so well. Same thing for Lemon, less so with the size stuff for the catch radius. But I think AD is your X, a guy who could take the top off the defense. Garrett can win vertical. It's not his best trait. Contested catches. He has the highlight reel ones, but he's not consistent with it. And just winning vertical in general, he's not great at it. Tate can win vertically better than Garrett. It's just the long speed is lacking a little bit there. So I would still play AD at X, and then either one of Lemon and Garrett at Z or slot, and you can kind of flip them around and stuff like that. But yeah, he's like an intermediate guy. He can win deep too. Some really good contested catches through 3 games. I'll continue to watch more and see if it continues. But he's really well rounded. Dude, I'm not signing the dotted line for AD Mitchell to be a top 3 receiver on this team if the Jets are attempting to make a Super Bowl run ever. But having a top 3 of Mitchell, Tate, or Lemon and Garrett Wilson with Mason Taylor and hopefully bringing another tight end, like a tight end too, with a good offensive line, you're talking about something, dude. That's a good receiver core. Peter Woods, Sony Styles, Lemon, top of the draft, doesn't have many great blue chip players. I think you need to draft a quarterback at the top. Yeah, I think really, like, to me so far, only like true blue chipper is probably Reese, maybe Tate, maybe Tate, maybe not Tate. I don't know. I gotta watch a little bit more of Tate. I think Reese is the only guy where I watch. I'm like, damn, like audible gasp at times. I'm like, this, I cannot believe he made that play. Who was your nightmare? Probably Murray. Probably Murray, because like I think you're gonna have to pay to get him, or in terms of the contract. I think I think he's the purgatory quarterback. I do 7-8 wins, maybe good enough for Woody Johnson to buy into the message. Never good enough to go to the playoffs. It's probably Murray. I don't want Murray. And again, maybe he's signed or traded by the Jets. And I watch him like, oh damn, like okay, I think he has really good potential. But then again, the staff, all that stuff. But I would probably say Murray. Right? Because like, yeah, I'm not going to sign the dotted line for Kirk Cousins or whatever, but if they bottom out, the staff's going to be fired. They're going to get a high pick next year. So it's not the worst case scenario. I just don't want the guy who's going to get you 7-8 wins, but never 12. Keeping Fields would be a nightmare. Yeah, they're getting rid of him. How does recent coverage feel like he's limited to a full-time edge? Yeah, I think in the NFL, he's like more of like a Sam backer, like a 3-4 strong side edge. Or outside linebacker or a 4-3 end. To me, if the Jets draft him, you're drafting him because of the pass rush. The coverage is there. Like you could maybe match him up against a tight end or a running back here and there. But if you're drafting him at 2, he's going to be rushing the passer. Obviously on passing downs 99% of the time. And like maybe there's a look where he's a spy or he rolls into the flat or into a hook zone or something like that. Like just for different looks, like that's going to happen. Maybe 2-3% with him. But 97% plus he's rushing the passer. You're not drafting him for coverage. You're not. He's not there. I don't watch him in coverage like, damn, I'm impressed by that. Like even Will, like I'm not comparing him. Obviously, he's much more athletic than Will McDonald overall because he has the bend, but he also has the power that Will McDonald doesn't possess. But like Will McDonald, you consider a very loose and limber defensive end, right? But as soon as he drops to drop back into coverage, he just looks like a fish out of water. He's just not he's not loose for a linebacker. He's loose for a D end. Like there's differences. So Reese is meant to rush the passer to me. Jets really screwed up by not moving up for Dart last year, and it might cost. But again, though, like Dart struggled once Dable left. So if the Jets brought in Dart, is he Dart? I don't know. The situation matters, dude. It really does. Javon Santiago? Santiago. I'm saying it's Santiago. I'm calling you Javon. I always call you Javon. I don't want to try to pronounce the last name. I'm too tired for that shit. Midnights get to me. Recording episode after episode, it's getting to me. I think I'm jumping on BJF soon. For you guys like Buffalo Jets fan, I think I'm doing that within a week or two or whatever. We're gonna lock it down. He reached out back, but I don't think he's gotten back to me. So get in your shit, Buffalo Jets fan. What are you doing, dude? Arch is the dream. Yeah. Hey, right now, gun to my head, having no other information, nothing. Arch Manning 2027. Yeah, I'll sign that on. Rise it right now. We should trade Garrett for a 27 first. If we can't draft a young quarterback, he won't fit the timeline, unfortunately. He's 24, 25, right? Yeah, and he fits the timeline. He's gonna be. You could turn around so quick. Don't fall for the 4 or 5 year rebuilds the Jets keep selling you on. It could turn within a season, dude. A season, legit. It happens all the time. And I went over the stats last week about how quickly teams turn it around, going plus 6-7 wins just because a new coach and a new quarterback came in. If you're telling me you had a legit coach and a legit quarterback on this team with this offense, with the offensive line, and you bring in another receiver, this could be a good team quickly. It can. Again, people predicted the Commanders to have 2 or 3 wins last year. They went to the NFC Championship game because they got the quarterback and they got somewhat of a coach. I don't know how great he is overall, but still they got the quarterback. So it could change. Garrett Wilson, we could again. You said 27, so then he'd be like 26, 27 years old. You still have 3-4 years left of him. I don't know. I also like Garrett Wilson's mindset. I'm not even trying to think about that yet. Lou B, appreciate you, dude. I think we end up with Wink. Do you like him? Again, transparency. Have I watched his schemes? Do I know? Not necessarily. Do I think he's a little bit capped as a coordinator? I do. I know he's been a good coordinator, but the league is developing. I know he's very, very blitz happy, which can work in today's NFL, but it seems like a lot of the more successful defenses just have good DNs and drop more guys into coverage, a la Salah in with the 49ers or the Texans. They just have two stud DNs with Hunter and with oh Jesus, Will Anderson. So I don't know if blitzing is the way of today's NFL unless you're like an absolute stud at it, like Flores. I don't think he's as versatile as Flores with coverages and stuff and like disguises. So I don't love it. I think I would be like more lukewarm. I'll be lukewarm on him. I'll be lukewarm on guys like even Raheem Morris, even though I like the head coaching experience. And I'm not sure how Wink fits in terms of the mentality because apparently he's a little bit more explosive. So I would rather reach for the stars a little bit more, me personally. But with lack of information, right? Okay, where are we at? I gotta jump off in 15 to 20 minute absolute max. 20 minutes, I'm late for work. They'll be fine. Stan, if you're in here. But 15 minutes, so I gotta start flying through questions. You're saying you won't be doing. I will not be doing a Bailey Zappi review. I cannot bring myself to do that. Now, if I'm bored in August, maybe, and he lights up in preseason, or we're hearing positive things in camp, sure. But like, I'm talking about Alvarell, Reese, and Ruben Bain. I can't bring myself to watch Bailey Zappi right now. I even want to watch Trinidad Chambliss, but because for the people who love the great Jake Asman, people are requesting the Chambliss review or at least some stuff on him. So I'm gonna watch, I think 2-3 games and just have a decent feel for him. David, I enjoyed listening to your stream with Tyson. I love Tyson. I do. I love Tyson. I vibe with Tyson very well. I'm not just saying that. I legitimately enjoy him. What do you think Simpson's ceiling is? Top 8 quarterback. How do you rate his arm strength? Yeah, he could be a top 8 guy. If you develop him properly, he has the arm strength. He has the mental capacity. He reads well over the middle. Anticipatory throws. He could be a very, very good quarterback. I'm not saying he will be. He has a high ceiling, for sure. Would you prefer to take one of the top receivers versus edge rushers at pick number 2? I know it can depend on free agency signings, but in a vacuum, value of position to help their team for immediate impact. I prefer Reese. I could say I could prefer Reese right now. If it's not Reese because they don't like the fit, I'd prefer Tate. That's probably where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at. But in a vacuum, from the value of position, the receiver's becoming an impact position, but I think D end is still more premium than a receiver. But right now, unless it's a receiver or unless it's a quarterback, my big board, again, gun to my head, admitting to you guys, I need to do more work on these guys. I've only watched 3 games. I don't think that's enough. I like to watch at least 5 or 6. The me of last year and years prior, I'm watching 12, 13, 14 to 20 games of these guys. I just want to get more substance out there in terms of more guys. I think 5, 6 games, you have a solid feel for the guy. Like you have like 80, 90% of what you need. So I'm admitting, again, I want more depth to my reviews, but right now I'm Reese or Tate. That's where I'll be at. Knee, collarbone, hammy. Oh, knee. What were the knee and the hammy? Which is funny. I told you to. I didn't pull up my freaking YouTube for the actual comments, but nonetheless, I'm still so far behind. Were the knee and the hammy to the same leg? I'd rather them be different. If it's the knee and the hammy for the same leg, that's more concerning to me than opposite, because you don't want your body to start to compensate. Like, did he get a knee injury and then his body compensated for that knee injury and then he got a hammy injury? I don't know. I've heard that Caleb Downs is a better prospect than Kyle Hamilton when he came out. I can't wait to hear. Yeah, I will probably watch him by the next stream. I will watch him. Now, I don't know if I'm going to stream every single week just because I have so many freaking shows to record. Like I just told you guys probably 30 reviews I have to do. So like maybe I take off every other week for those 2 hours every other week. I can record an episode or 2 of a film show. So I'll probably start doing bi-weekly, I would assume. But there's a lot of news out, so I did it this week. That's college. Will you stand up in the NFL? You're talking about Reese, I don't think you're setting up Reese. Now, if it's a 3-4 team who takes him, he's going to be like, he can stand up and drop into coverage and stuff, but you're rushing him at least 90% of the time. Oh, connection is fine. Thank you for reminding me. Actually, I gotta, while I'm doing this really quickly, let me get a good question I could speak about while I upload my Ty Simpson review. Lamar is closing on 30 and lost his superpower running. You don't get faster with age. Yeah, I don't love it. I'll be honest. Like, I love the potential of it, but an aging running quarterback with a sketchy coaching staff that may be fired after 1 year, I don't love that risk. Yeah, one more TV. Why do you watch TV, Tyson? You know this. Bunch of idiots, dude. Carson Beck, quarterback. Yeah, I don't know. Watched a lot of Mark Gastineau and the top 3 edges. 20. In my opinion, the top 3 edges, 266. I don't know who's 266. Mark Gastineau, Garrett, 271. That's the weight for top edges. Yeah, but how much does Micah Parsons weigh? You just mentioned this, yeah. Fool's gold. Yeah, dude. Listen, again, I'm just so willing to either it works out great or it shit hits the fan. You know, that's where I'm at. Combine, it was sold on Josh Allen over Baker or Darnold. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to fly through these because Red John, Carnell Tate, he's so smooth, just so smooth. He's such a good route runner. There's so many times where I'm like, damn, he really did that. Like, I really like Tate after 3 games. I really like Tate though. We know Mendoza. Okay, so Mendoza for me, again, it's the scheme. I think a lot of things are schemed up for him. I think he's in an easy situation where his team is up. The defense is great. The run, like, he's in a perfect situation, right? That's the problem with him to me. The running game is awesome. The defense, for the most part, is awesome. The receivers consistently make catches. He doesn't take snaps from under center. It's only shotgun. It's heavy RPO where, yeah, the NFL is RPO heavy, but not as much as they were at Indiana, and obviously depending on where he goes. So that, and then he's very reactive versus proactive versus pressure. He scrambles at the last second versus pressure, where, yeah, you may get away with that versus Kennesaw State, but versus the Rams, you're not going to. So I would say that. There's some times he can lock onto the first read. There's some times where he's not perfect with transitional footwork, so he's not perfect. So I would say those reasons. I could pull up my list of all the weaknesses, but like, gun to my head, right off the top of my head, that's what it is. Does Simpson age in the fact that a freshman pushed him out of Alabama? I don't think a freshman pushed him out of Alabama. What he contributes, the aggression for Simpson. For him, just freaking tuck the ball at times, dude. The one verse, what was the last one he had versus Indiana? I think he went for a little bit too much, scrambling for a first down. But yeah, the age, the size. It's the age and the size, the over aggressiveness at times worry me. And then the fumbling is more so aggression. So just slide, but I don't think any of these guys are perfect. I really don't. And Oregon Jets, I'm curious if I see this at the end, but are you happy that, like, I'm legitimately curious. Are you happy that Dante Moore didn't come out because now he's playing for you guys again? And then how do you feel about the whole Raiola situation? And also, or are you on the opposite side of the spectrum where, like, I want him to come out so he could be the Jets quarterback? Or are you more of an Oregon fan where it's like, I don't want them to ruin him? Like, I wonder where you stand, like, legitimately. I know you've said that you like Mendoza, you don't like Simpson. I think you like Moore a lot, but you respect the opinion. So I appreciate that. I appreciate people who aren't like, I have this guy better than your guy, so you're an idiot and you suck. Like, we can have different opinions, especially when you give reasons and stuff and there's legitimate context to your opinions. Then I can appreciate other opinions. But when you just say, oh, he sucks, you're an idiot, it's like, oh, okay, sweet, dude. Brock Bowers. Yeah. Brock Bowers, you got Genty, cool, but their offensive line is booty cheeks, right? So NY Jets lunatic. I don't think first time I've seen you, unless you're the atch change and stuff. So I don't know if I've ever seen you. Do you think we should trade down for the number 2 and pick up a late 2026 pick and get another first? Yeah. Hey, yeah, hell yeah, sure. But who's trading up? And then to where? Because, like, I would love to trade back. Then also, if you're telling me Reese at 2 or Bain at 4, like, I really want the ceiling of Reese. So I would be a little bit more lukewarm on it. But if you could pick up extra first and seconds for the new coaching staff, most likely, then yeah, I'm down. So I'm skipping some stuff. I know I usually hit like every single chat, but I don't want to be super late to work. Is down good as advertised? I'm watching quite literally in like a day or two, Moss. So I'll tell you next. Asking this question in my next stream, I'll have a legitimate answer for you. I can't tell you. A love review? Luby, a love review. Fuck is love? Are you talking about Willis? Who is love? Ty Simpson fumbled the ball and I know I didn't get to this before. Yeah, you don't want a fumble problem. I think he fumbled the ball 7 times this year, which is not great. It's part of it. I have that listed in his weaknesses. He fumbles too much. I think it's more because of most of the fumble problems are guys who just don't go down at the proper time. Now, with that being said, with him versus Mendoza, like it's a thing where he gets pressured a shit ton more and there's pressure immediately in his face. So he's going to get hit more. So he's going to fumble more than Mendoza. If he had 7, I think Mendoza had 2. Flip teams, maybe Simpson has 4 and Mendoza has 4, so like you have to consider the context too, where he's getting pressured a lot more. So he fumbles, he's going to fight for more yards because he's in worse situations. So yeah, I don't love it, but still. I saw some Raiders content creators talk about Fernando and they mentioned the same flaw as you said. Their fans are actually knowledgeable like us. Why do good fans get cursed with bad teams? I think there's good fans everywhere. I think there's knowledgeable fans for every team for the most part. Unless you're like a Dolphins fan, even though I do enjoy, I'm a Travis Wingfield guy. I think he's like the Miami Dolphins version of Eric Allen for us. But he was like a lower level guy, and then got to that level. He's still a good dude. I talk to him every once in a while. So minus Wingfield, because I like Wingfield. Everybody else can suck one from the Dolphins. I hate the Dolphins. How much stock do you put into NFL, high school, and school combine as a film review? As a film reviewer, it's part of it. I think I think it's more about the meeting rooms during the combine than it is during the testing. Unless you just completely blow it out of the water, either good or bad, I don't think it matters so much. I think it's more about the meeting rooms. So it's definitely part of it. But I'm much more film, right? Peace all night. Go Jets. Yeah, get some great content. I appreciate that, dude. Get some sleep. I'll be up driving down roads for hours. Have you watched film on Bernard? I would love to pair Simpson and Bernard up. Yeah, I would be okay with Bernard I have to watch him like fully. 33, I don't think it would be a terrible reach. 44, I'll be more comfortable with based on the little, like I watch him because I watch Simpson, but I'm so laser focused on the quarterback that I'm not watching those guys too. But I think he's and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll have a different opinion once I watch him. I think he's almost more of like a jack of all trades and a master of none. That's how I would label him. Do you think a promising coach would come to the Jets for just 1 year? No, Niama. That's part of the problem. I think they're more working from the second tiers because now as a head coach, fine, even with the pressures of Woody Johnson. So maybe you don't get like the Tomlin or the Harbaughs, but if you're Jim Leonard, and it's not a head coaching job, why are you going to go to the Jets? You might be fired after a year. It's not. I don't know. Ablab, realistically, Denzel, Boston, maybe they're at 16, not the others. Your thoughts? I just feel like Lemon and Tate will be gone. Yeah, I'm with you, Ablab. I think they're too good to be there. I do. Now I have to watch more guys to see where they stack up. But based on I'm through 5 or 6 reviews, I don't think there's a chance. No way Tate is there, and I really doubt that Lemon's there as well. I will be watching Denzel, Boston. Where is he listed in my reviews? I'll probably have them all done, or like at least like some of them watched by the time I stream in a week or 2 from now. Damn, where am I? Yeah, so next I'm watching Downs, Tyson, Woods, Falk, Concepcion, McDonald, Boston. So Boston's quite a bit down. I think in 2 weeks I'll have watched Boston. So Ablab, if you're in here again in 2 weeks, ask me. Yeah, I don't like to just give opinions when I haven't really watched him. Like I know what people think of him, but I can't tell you. I know some people think that he's just a contested catch guy. People thought that of Drake London, and I thought he was much better of a route runner. And he's clearly at least a pretty solid one in the league. So I have to watch them because he seems people are on opposite sides of the spectrum. So I don't know. Right now, it's a very shallow opinion or shallow base to work off of. I think 16 may be too high based on what I hear of him, but I can watch him and say, no, dude, he's a stud. I was like that with London. I was definitely higher on London than other people. Lemon will be manhandled like Garrett is. What do you mean manhandled? Like as a blocker? No, yeah, sure. You want a guy who can block. A lot of receiver blocking is about just getting in the way and being willing to do it more so than being a dominant freak of nature. Right? Like is Amon-Ra St. Brown some freak of nature as a blocker, or is he just really willing? Garrett's not as willing. Lemon is willing to walk. So yeah, like sure you want that, but I'm not gonna be like, well, Denzel Boston might be, a much worse prospect than Lemon, but he can block, so I'm gonna take him because he's bigger. I wouldn't value that so much. Can't wait for the weekly Breeze tweet inserting team too easy or too free. Yeah, he didn't have any tweets about Aaron Rodgers this week, right? That's weird. He got to the same place this year than that. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields got. So can we stop with the Aaron Rodgers stuff? My God, dude. Let's play $30, $40 million, $50 million for him, and then $20, $30 million for Devontae Adams to get the Jets from 3 wins this year to 5. Dumbest shit I've ever heard in the world. It was the right decision to get rid of Rodgers. I will debate anybody on that. They were not in a position for Rodgers. It's dumb. Would you trade down? It depends to where. In general, yeah, I'm always down for trade downs. If not, I'm taking a reset too. But yeah, I would definitely be down for a trade down. It just, is it available? Nasir. Is this the Nasir I'm thinking about? Nasir, are you the Nasir? Please tell me if you are. My brother-in-law is he does a lot of football stuff and we'll train guys and lift with them. And you came over to my house 3 weeks ago to lift. Are you that Nasir? Or are you different Nasir? I'm genuinely curious because not a lot of people are named Nasir. Just like a lot of people don't have the last name Blewetts. I'm curious. I'm feeling like Kyler Murray combined with Tate, Tyson, Garrett, and 80 and Mechie, Brees is where I'm at right now. I like Ty Simpson as well. I do, but I don't think we realize once we pull up on a quarterback, that's it. Yeah, but dude, the Cardinals did it, especially if you're changing staffs. If you're not changing staffs, you're more attached to that guy. But if you draft Simpson, he crashes and burns, everybody's going to get fired. You're not attached to him. Again, my concern with Murray is I think he's generally just all right or mid. And that's the Kirk Cousins purgatory region. And I don't love that. That's where I'm at. Thyman, is that the safety from Oregon? I don't know. Can't tell you. Yep. To 6 foot, 205 pound safety who supposedly runs a 4.3 40. What for downs? I'm probably going to watch him within the next day or two. Is signing Linderbaum realistic? Kev Chada? Yeah. How much money they want to pay him. And then you also have to take into account Jets tax and New York tax, so yeah, it's possible. If I'm Linderbaum, are the Jets my first choice? If you were Linderbaum, are they your first choice? No. So yeah, it's possible. How much are they going to pony up? We look at, I'm down for running back. I am, and I can't speak specifically to this Austin Powers, Michael Myers. But I am of the mindset of drafting a running back every year. Even if it's in the 6th, 7th round, they hit so much late that you do it. Start the rookie next year. Kenny 49ers, what's up, dude? I don't hate the Niners, right? Who NFC? I can't. I was rooting for the Rams a little bit. I can't with Devontae Adams now. So you think we'll be able to get Simpson at 16? Gun to my head right now with a lot of stuff still to happen. I don't think Simpson's there at 16 for them to take. That's just based on the film I watched and the upside he has with the quarterback class and how they're always elevated. I don't think he'll be there. Do you take Ty at 16 or trade number 2 down and then pick him? Obviously two trade down then pick him is you have a better chance of grabbing him. So that's probably the more realistic shot, or waiting till 16. Obviously that's more risky. If I could trade down to 10, 11 and take Simpson, I would do that. I would do that. I believe fully that Ty. Are you I'm curious, what is your backstory on Ty Simpson? Did you just get attached to him, or is it a thing where you're an Alabama fan? I'm genuinely curious. I'm not trying to be a dick. Joe Burrow is, I think, if healthy, a Hall of Fame quarterback. So I wouldn't go that far, but I think he has more movement skills than Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow just is a lot more accurate and he's a lot better, not better at reading stuff. I think he's more competent in terms of taking what's open and being a smart player. Have you done a Sony Styles review? Oh my God, bro is 6'5". Yeah, I recorded. I did not. I didn't. I recorded the plays. I didn't do the groundwork yet. I gotta fly through this. I'm gonna be late. Packers quarterback Love? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yes, Love. Duh. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Do you ever scout player? Yeah, no, I'm not answering that. Love at 16. Yeah, we'll see. Joe, we trade our best defensive players now. I get it. Mongrave, I do. Like, yeah, I'd rather lean offense. I would. Are we going to be the Brooklyn Nets to have 5 first round? We do over the next 2 years. Stack. Let's see. Garrett's not willing. Yeah, he's not the most physical guy in the world, Garrett. Okay. Draft the best receiver you can. Add another weapon. Jokey, so much. Tank for ties. Actual burner. Okay, yeah, I got to go because I'm going to be late. I appreciate you guys. I'll be back soon. Subscribe. Let's watch some reviews.